Welcome to the Dan Beasley Show. Today is Sunday, and it's May the 6th, 2013, 10 o'clock 07 p.m. And we're coming to you live from Hartsville, South Carolina. Tonight we're going to have a mixture of news and some words from the good book to substantiate some of our claims as to its validity and also to offer some inspiration to some of those of you out there who are at a loss as to what happened, in recent days. Tonight we're going to be looking at things in the U.S. News headlines. The Boston bomber's suspect family struggles to find a burial site. For a long time, no one was going to claim his body. It was sitting in the morgue, and it had remained there for about a week and a half. And now they're trying to find a suitable burial site that someone will take him. And it's got to be hard on the family if they did not know what this young man was up to, and we were just caught totally off surprise, and totally surprised about what he believed in so strongly that he gave up his life to do what he did. What he did was horrible. What he did was deplorable, and what he did was inexcusable. So anyway, I don't think their family, I don't think their parents agreed with him in his philosophies and in his political activism. So anyway, it's a bad thing on the family, and they're trying to get a place to find to bury their son. The next thing in the headlines is there's a fight expected in the House. There was a bill that passed over the weekend regarding internet sales. They've been trying to get this passed for years. They've been trying to get the states to enforce their sales laws on online purchases, and they thought that legislation faces a tougher fight in the Republican-controlled House of Representatives. Democratic-controlled Senate voted 69 to 27 to back the measure, which pits brick-and-mortar stores against Walmart Incorporated and cash-hungry state governments against such web retailers as eBay Incorporated, and Republicans are wary of the new tax measures. Okay, so we all know that it's either tax or spend. Maybe an inclusion of both, but it's still tax and spend. The next thing that we've got in the news is we've got two women that were missing for over 10 years. They were found alive in Ohio, and they went missing as teenagers. They were found alive Monday in a residential area just south of downtown, within miles from where they disappeared. So that just shows you, just what the photos on the walls of Walmart milk cartons will do for you. They're showing you pictures that were frozen in time, but yet time gets away, and after 10 years, children and people change, and sometimes this is not a really effective way of trying to find missing children. It said cheering crowds gathered at the Monday night at a street near home, where the police said that Amanda Berry and Gina De Jesus and a third woman was found earlier in the day. The identity of the third woman hadn't been confirmed. So they didn't provide, the police didn't provide any details of how the women were found or what conditions they were in. They've been gone since April 16, 2003, when When Barry called her sister and said she was getting a ride home from her job at Burger King. De Jesus went missing at age 14 on her way home from school about a year later. So they were not abducted at the same time, and there was no abduction charges being filed at this time. So we've got things that happened there that are unexplainable, and we don't know why they went missing. And then we've got a new study out, and this is going to put a dent into the cosmetic market. A new study found a cure for gray hair, and they said there's no doubt it would leave the hair dye industry seeing red. According to a joint group of researchers, they found that they've come across a cure for gray hair. And for many science lesson, gray hair is a result of oxidative stress that causes hydrogen peroxide to accumulate in the hair follicle. In response, the hair strand then essentially bleaches itself from the inside out. Good figure, huh? Put peroxide on the outside to get the color off the outside. In the study, the process appears to be thwarted with the application of a topical complex called PCKUS, which converts hydrogen peroxide to water and oxygen, so it breaks it back down into its components. Research also revealed that the compound worked similar magic for a group of 2,411 patients with the condition known as vitiligo, which is what Michael Jackson said that he suffered from, which is marked by white patches on the skin caused by pigment loss. And the question remains is, could it be finally a cure for gray hair? Okay, that remains to be seen. We go on to our next our next story. There was a woman eaten by vultures. She fell off of a cliff in France. A 52-year-old lady was hiking with her friends in the Pyrenees when she fell to her death over 1,000 feet from the hiking trail. By the time they got to her body, the scavengers had already done their job and had consumed the woman's body. So anyway, there was no body to recover except for what the remains were. They said that they had done a moratorium over leaving dead animals out in the fields and stuff, and it caused the vultures to go hungry, and the vultures, out of instinct, were drawn to this woman's body. So we have that. We have that in the news, and we also have you're not going to believe this. Sex superbug. Says reports of a new sex superbug is threatening the U.S. are not true, public health officials say, even as they reiterate worries about the rise of drug-resistant gonorrhea. They said reports of the sex superdrug are not true. The public officials say that the sky is not falling. So anyway, there's other stories that says that the sex superbug could be worse than AIDS. We have in the story also a tragic story of a limo that killed some passengers that were on the way to a bachelorette party, and the limo went up in flames, and it took like 3 minutes for it to incinerate these women and kill them. It was a stretch limo, and it was carrying 5 women inside, one too many passengers, and it was authorized to carry 8 or fewer passengers, but it had 9 on the night of the deadly fire. It happened Friday night. Blaze remains under investigation. They were out celebrating a girls' night out with a newlywed bride when it went up in flames. And it was on the San Mateo Hayward Bridge. The driver and 4 women were able to escape. A newlywed woman was among the dead. The driver, Orville Brown, said at first he misunderstood which one of the passengers in the back was saying, that when she knocked on the partition of the passenger area in the driver compartment, she complained of smell smoke. When the music turned up, he initially thought the woman was asking if she could smoke. Seconds later, he says the woman knocked again, screaming, "Smoke, smoke, smoke, pull over." And he helped 4 of the surviving women to escape through the partition. One woman ran around to the passenger door of the back of the limo, and by then it was engulfed in flames. When she opened that back door, I knew it was not a good scene. She figured that all that fire they had gone, that the passengers were gone. There was just so many flames, and maybe within 90 seconds, that's a minute and a half, folks, the car was fully engulfed. 5 were dead, huddled near the partition, apparently unable to squeeze through. They have not yet been identified. And the firefighters arrived within minutes and extinguished the blaze. Investigators did preliminary interviews with the survivors, and the driver did not re-interview them. So the investigation is expected to take weeks. Survivors in the hospital and trying to determine whether or not any crime occurred. Okay, there's some personal notes that we won't go into about the identities of some of these victims, but you know, it brings you to the question of why. Why do these things happen? Why does this happen to good people? And one of the things that the Bible says about it is it offers some consolation. And this is not the only consolation it offers, and you can look it up for yourselves. But don't take my word for it. I'm giving it to you in paraphrase. I'm not giving it to you in verse. The Bible says that some people, suffer in this world not for what they've done, and it wasn't done because of what they had sinned or anything else that they had. That sometimes you suffer for right doing as well as wrong doing, and sometimes you are given, the chance of living in a world where things like this can happen. I mean, it just happens. And it's not God's will for any of this to happen to anyone, especially someone to be burned alive. I mean, in that short a period of time, it had to be as though they were doused with gasoline or something. But anyway, to make a long story short, the night, we're talking about beauty for ashes. Sometimes God takes what matters to you the most, and it takes all that you can do to get back and to make the most of every day when you suffer through the loss of someone. When there's a pink slip on your desk, the loss of your health or your spouse, or how do you carry on with life inside when everything seems to be overwhelming? And I was reading a story the other day about a family that lost 3 children, three teenage children, preteen children, to a drunk driver driving an 18-wheeler semi. And he drove over the top of their car and it killed them all instantly. Well, one was carried to the hospital where